back into the new chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen, chapter 247. It starts off with Sukuna gushing over Higuruma's domain amplification, and not just because it nullified his technique, but because of how he interrupted his own technique and then resumed it. And this is just like how Sukuna used his own domain amplification in his fight with Gojo, where in order to not disrupt his domain's adaptation, he carefully used the amplification. Higuruma's sword also resumed its technique's effect even after amplification, meaning that Higuruma wields his sword's technique almost as effectively as Sukuna does. Which is just a crazy concept and shows you just how quickly Higuruma has become more and more proficient with his cursed energy as the battle progresses. He really is a genius. But before we get into the rest of the chapter, if you're enjoying this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps my small channel grow. Also, I've made a Patreon and it's in the description below. Support me if you'd like. Sukuna then does something completely unexpected and calls Higuruma by his name while making his domain's hand symbols. And everyone is surprised, but unexpectedly his domain doesn't open up. Instead, the building around them crumbles into pieces. Higuruma then lunges towards Sukuna, and just before he gets close, he's suddenly hit from both sides by a barrage of small sliced up rocks. And while he's distracted, Yuji goes in for a small punch at Sukuna, who has now appeared behind them. But Sukuna just simply grabs a hold of his arm and grips Yuji's side. And Yuji realizes too late, and Sukuna uses cleave to tear a crisscross hole in Yuji's abdomen. As Yuji falls to the ground, Sukuna menacingly exclaims that Yuji should just get it through his head. He's boring, and he doesn't thrill Sukuna at all. The whole building then collapses, and Higuruma goes in again for some jabs with the sword, but Sukuna just effortlessly dodges it and punches him again. Higuruma then swerves and... wait, hold on, that doesn't sound right. I had on my script here. He thrusts the sword between his legs, but now that I'm reading that out loud, it doesn't sound right. Anyway, Sukuna easily dodges again and begins his chant to reinforce his attack, and it certainly attacks. The dismantle appears to slice through the world, destroying the ground below, and in the rubble, Sukuna asks Higuruma to heal that, and Higuruma is then revealed with a sliced off arm dripping with blood. He thinks to himself that no matter how well he prepared to die, the pain still hurts. And Sukuna continues his barrage of attacks, slicing Higuruma's legs and his other hand off that was holding the sword. Sukuna then taunts him, saying that he'll take off his head next, and then asks him to perform a reverse curse technique, otherwise he'll die. Higuruma then reflects on his role, and just when things seem to be over, suddenly a piercing blood strike rushes towards Sukuna. He blocks it and comments that it must be from Choso, which means he's alive! Yay! He's not actually dead. But also there's something interesting about this scene. We don't actually see the person who sends the attack. Normally we see Choso clapping his hands together and shooting it, but this time we don't. And what's also strange is that Sukuna says it must be from Choso, not that it actually is. So in my opinion, it could be Yuji gaining that power from eating something. I don't really know, and I could be talking out of my ass here, but it's fun to speculate on. Suddenly, while Sukuna is distracted, Higuruma actually uses reverse curse technique, healing his arm and grabbing the sword, plunging it towards Sukuna just as he notices him. It pierces Sukuna, stabbing right through his hand, and as Higuruma seems to have gained the upper hand. But unfortunately, we all knew that wasn't going to work. Sukuna just ends up surviving again by chopping off that limb at the moment of contact. But he does compliment Higuruma, saying not bad, and as Higuruma notices his chance is finally gone, slices appear in his face, and he remembers a conversation with Kusakabe about the strength of curses increasing after death. He reflects back on his role, and he throws the executioner's sword in the air, and as he breaks apart into pieces, Yuji appears behind Sukuna, and Yuji, now faced with a similar incident like in Shibuya, remembers Nanami's words. The words of a curse that has continued to become stronger, and as Higuruma looks at Yuji on the brink of death, reminds him that it's what he should do. Yuji, with the words filling his heart, screams that he's a sorcerer and grabs the executioner's blade and propels it towards Sukuna. And the chapter ends there with the last panel of Yuji's resolve. Will he do it? Will he finally beat Sukuna? Well, probably not. Even though this chapter was absolutely insane from start to finish, Sukuna will definitely bring out his anti-executioner sword technique that he has been hiding for 1,000 years. I'm just joking, but his plot armor is insane, so he will definitely survive this. However, it is unbelievably sad to see Higuruma go. He was an exceptional character, and just as he became one of the most powerful sorcerers in the world, he unfortunately was ended too soon. And I have to say, this is really well written. They're fighting to kill this monster that is Sukuna, but also fighting for their own principles, Higuruma's role being that of a stepping stone to sacrifice himself to propel others forward. This is a battle of ideals, Sukuna's ideals being that of selfishness, taking everything for oneself and fighting for one's own self-interests, and that of our heroes, who fight for the good of their friends, sacrificing themselves in the hopes that they can boost another. It's actually really well written, and I'm thoroughly enjoying what could be the final fight so far. It's now coming to the end of the video, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I'm so happy you stopped by. My channel is steadily growing, and I'm amazed at the support I'm getting. And I also have a Patreon now, so feel free to support me however you like. The link will be in the description, and I will shout out names at the end of each video. Thank you again, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.